a huge return, a monster return, the biggest return possible to the Smackdown post show. That's, of course, what we're here to talk about, right? We've got Sean Rossap here to talk about the return of AJ Lee. We're going to light it up here on the Smackdown post show, but get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. Obviously, a lot to talk about with the AJ Lee return. Brock Lesnar also returning to this program as well. And we're going to get into both of those things, but a few housekeeping tips that we ask of you at the beginning of the show. Please do leave a thumbs up on this video. And darn it, if you want to set an attendance record of all records, join the 205,000 other subscribers here on this channel. Wembley Stadium could never, okay? Subscribe right here. But I'm joined by Cresta. She's going to leave her boots in the ring and head out for a few weeks. But we've got her here tonight, and we've got Sean Rossap to talk all about this AJ Lee return. Sean, this is not the first pitch that's come the way of AJ Lee since for a long time now, but you've been hearing a lot about this, so we thought we'd have you on to chat about it. What can you tell us?
For years I've been hearing about it. Now I'll quickly shout out FightfulSelect.com. If you like the stuff that you're about to hear, if you're interested in it, fascinated by it, we are almost completely supported by FightfulSelect.com. We had exclusive news on AJ Styles today. We had stuff on another AJ that maybe we'll get around to talking about this week as well. We broke the news that Brock Lesnar would be here this week, if you're into that sort of thing. But we got scoops every day, and you can ask us questions on those stories there. I got Q&A articles every day. I got a Q&A podcast every week. The gentlemen at Grapsity do a show every other week. And then Kate and Alex do a bunch of Sour Graps content over there. It's just $5.99 a month. So please support that, and please support original coverage. I know it's not for everybody. I know inflation is kicking people's asses. It's kicking our asses too. But if you can, please support us over there. But I first heard, saying that I heard is being pretty generous. Like I had posted a thing earlier this week. I hate it when people do the Scoopster thing where they'll like post a GIF or something like that and then never report a thing about it. And then like later on just be like, told you. Someone kind of did that to me in WWE like two and a half weeks ago. It was mid-August. I can't remember what message I sent to somebody, but it was completely unrelated. And they sent me a little AJ Lee GIF. And it's GIF. That's what the creator of the image calls it. Just
generated image something. I think
because there aren't giraffes out in this world. That much I tell you.
But anyway, get to the story.
I was like, that's weird. And I just kind of put my phone down. Like I didn't really even think about it. And then the next day, another person had made a little comment about AJ. And I was like, oh, AJ Styles. Yeah. I reported on them. And they're like, yeah, not the only AJ you're going to be reporting on. And I was like, okay. I was like, what's going on with AJ Francis? What's happening here?
Yeah.
And I started to poke around. I had been hearing like there were pitches made. Now, pitches can happen, right? It's a fun story. Sometimes it materializes, sometimes it doesn't. But I was being told that specifically the pitches in relation to AJ Lee were not getting shot down with the same speed that they had prior. Now, AJ Lee has been a sought out return for a number of people, mainly like women in the industry. Like when CM Punk was in AEW, I had a ton of women there that were like, yeah, wish we could get her out of retirement. And like, it was almost a thing where people could tell that Punk was kind of annoyed that he kept getting like, ha, you're not the first one. It's like when somebody does a Dusty impression to Cody Rhodes, right? Like, I'm sure he's heard it a million times. How many people do you think have come up to Punk and said, hey, you should get her out of retirement? And the thing that I had always heard was that he was particularly respectful of whenever the hell she wants to come back. If she wants to come back, she will let that be known. It won't need to be something where I say, hey, do you want to? From everything I had understood, he was always very respectful of that and would never commit to anyone like that and would kind of like changed the subject, so to speak. People in WoW, Women of Wrestling, told me that when they brought her in, that was a major shift in that programming. When WoW was brought back, originally it was going to be like a women's alternative with a whole lot of the released WWE talent. Then they brought on Tessa, they brought on AJ Lee, and they're like, well, let's just do something completely different. Completely different than what they had planned, not completely different than what WoW does, because it's the same shit they've always done. From what I understood, they had even mentioned to AJ, like, oh, maybe you wrestle. And she's like, maybe not.
How about not so much?
Well,
she made that very clear. But also, I was told the needling kind of continued in WWE to Punk, and that he seemed a little more laid back about it. But then again, he seemed more laid back about everything in WWE. And then this weekend, I got told, like, I got screenshotted where they had mentioned the pitches, and they said it's not a pitch anymore. And it was as Becky was unmasking, and I was like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. And then Monday, I was just flat out told she's coming back, she's wrestling, and it's likely going to be at WrestlePalooza. And if you think that household is happy to go right up against AEW, I bet you they're pretty happy. They've got some history there, but incredible return. Very interesting that it's with Becky, because listen, Becky, a lot of the things that she said to CM Punk in that promo on Monday were very, very real, rooted in her feelings types of things, which has been the basis of much of the CM Punk Seth Rollins storyline. But a lot just unfolded without a ton actually unfolding. But AJ Lee is back, and it's one of the last big returns that you could kind of have.
Let's get to some super chats and humper chats. This should be a fun show because Cresta has said that she has no real attachment to AJ Lee. I have an incredible attachment to AJ Lee, so it'll be kind of fun, I think, to get a few experiences with her contributions to wrestling, but I can't wait to talk about them because she was a big, big piece of advancing women's wrestling. And there are a lot of fans now, as I am so old and reminded on a regular basis every time I try to move and my knees creak at me, that like they know the 4 horsewomen elevating things and forward. There's not a lot of people that know AJ's role. They know her name, they know she did a lot, but I'm so excited to get to speak to that. But Sean, you had mentioned kind of this was one of the last big returns. Brian more or less mentioning more or less a few other returns here with Edge, Cody, Stone Cold, CM Punk, AJ Lee, and saying how many people have returned to wrestling. You know, Bryan Danielson being on that list too, honestly. Wrestling is amazing. Yes, wrestling is amazing.
You know what's interesting?
Next.
No. You boys at Fightful Select reported all those.
Every single one.
Oh my God, look at that.
Subscribe. You can subscribe for just $1 more than it cost to have this chat. That's how many scoops that you can get there. But
it's less than crack now.
It's less that should be our new slogan, Sean.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's less than crack.
There you go. The Cody one will always hold a special place in my heart because you found that out about 3 minutes before we went on air for this post show when you used to host it.
Insane. But yeah, let's get to some super chats and humper chats while I'm here. But I will say, as we get into this, I had this discussion on Monday as well. AJ Lee is a big reason that the women's revolution, as it happened. But she left in early 2015. She did not get to enjoy the fruits of much of her labor. And I know a lot of people don't realize this that are younger fans. She was the main character of WWE at one point. Like, the show revolved around her and what she was doing. And she helped get a whole bunch of people over. And she was the most interesting thing in a very, very bleak period of WWE wrestling at that point. But she was a fascinating personality and character and performer. And I am very interested in how this translates to 2025, because I started to ask around the roster, right? And I'm like, hey, none of these people, like Natty was there, Naomi was there, but she's home now. Like almost nobody was there when she is. She inspired this generation. You see like Kiera Hogan posting her Halloween costume, and Roxanne Perez had posted one as well. Like this woman is just in her late 30s and has inspired the current generation of women's wrestlers because of how good she was as a performer.
And it's a tribute to kind of, I feel like NXT as well, because there was such a, she was at the front of that women's crop that kind of came up through the black and gold era of NXT on the women's side. And you're right, like these are all fresh matchups for her, depending on how much she wants to work, which is a fun piece of this. But Galran saying, give AJ Lee the IC belt, let all those dream matches with the new generation of talent be a solid IC tour. AJ was always great at getting the best performance out of people. So she was also at a time where the work rate was not necessarily the biggest priority, especially for women's matches. It was a lot of get yourself over in 2 to 3 minutes kind of matches. Very interesting to see what we can do now with more screen time here. But, you know, I was talking about this on Fightful Select with Alex Pulaski. It's kind of funny with this women's IC title that it feels like maybe we're going backwards, that we're going from Lyra to Becky to AJ Lee rather than kind of the way you would see it the other way around. But I'll throw it to both of you guys. Do you think Becky's losing to AJ in this program? Do we see an AJ Lee title run? I think is a question a lot of people have.
Cresta.
I'll let you go first, Sean. I'm still soaking it in. I have no history, so it's nice to hear.
Oh,
it's nice.
I think she's losing. I think AJ Lee wins at WrestlePalooza. But that is a harmless no title for either one of them thing. I think Seth does continue to carry the title into like WrestleMania season. I think that probably Braun Breaker is the guy that beats him eventually. I think that should be anyway. AJ Lee, from what I reported this on FightfulSelect.com, I was told it's not a one-off, or at least they're hoping it's not a one-off. So
it's a possibility for sure. But Anthony Velasquez saying, so glad AJ is back. She was my favorite women's wrestler at a time when women's wrestling was not taken seriously by WWE. So I'll just reiterate that because I started watching in 2009 and everyone is like, how did you get into it at that time? And now I look back and I say, I don't know. But when you look at the expansion of women's wrestling between then and now, as much as I still have my criticisms and complaints, there were WrestleManias where there were no women's matches on the card. That was like a total divas talking point, but there is a moment very specifically where AJ Lee took just the nastiest accidental bump from the Big Show, and it felt like that changed things in a major way. Work rate was not necessarily a priority, so I think that's part of why her character was so strong. But her and then Paige having the back and forth they done, her and Caitlyn, like we got to see all these things. And unfortunately for wrestlers like Beth Phoenix and Natalya, they had like a program lined up and then they just canceled it and they went in this awful direction with Natalya. So they had to claw and fight and scratch for the 3 minutes that they were getting. And AJ being at the forefront and kind of the first woman to become the main character, like Sean said, that would later lead to things like Becky being the main character as well. So as someone that got into it at that time, it was very inspired work as far as what women were allowed to have on WWE television.
And
sorry.
No, go ahead, Cresta.
I was going to say that it's quite interesting because the only piece of AJ Lee knowledge that I've had up until this point was I seen the match where it was her versus Paige, and she put Paige in this gnarly octopus stretch. So me seeing her with fresh eyes, I want to give these girls a chance. I don't know you from a can of paint, but if that reaction is any indication, my apologies. If that reaction is any indication to go by, it's giving Becky Lynch back when people only wanted Becky Lynch. So I don't care if she can or cannot wrestle. I'm excited for what's about to transpire. I hope this turns into a IC title run because I don't think you bring her back to lose. You know what I mean? I don't think that'd be the play. I think the fans will actually eat you.
She's instantly a big star. It's interesting because her last match, when you look back at it, it was just starting to get to that era of getting like a little more time. Like I remember when her like she came back and did some matches in 2015 But like really, like she was wrapping it up in 2014, like around the time Punk left. And I remember she and Natalya had like a 15-minute match on Main Event. Main Event used to have actual title matches and stuff on it. But here's the interesting thing. Her last match was AJ Lee, Naomi, and Paige, who are all three technically active, against the Bella Twins and Natalya, who are all like semi-active. So you could see and you could kind of still feel that a lot of those women that were really, really behind pushing a lot of this, who were already on the main roster, not bubbling under in NXT as much, are still out there trying to do that thing. I'm just, it's wild to see how different the landscape is 10 years later.
It is,
No,
and in a
agreed.
lot of ways much more positive. But Robbie's saying, hi, Sean, it's Robbie. Amazing night. Love to y'all. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And Avery Kendall sending in two chats to say, AJ Lee. AJ Lee. Yeah, that was the theme of the night. The theme of the night for sure. We're going to keep working through some of these chats. Dave Koss saying, nothing is better than pro wrestling / sports entertainment when it's great. And that, my friends, was great. Not afraid to admit that I got deep in my feels seeing Punk look up the ramp. So proud, pure joy. So
People on Twitter were going crazy. So I'm not mad if I see someone like the Punk crying meme. If someone's crying about AJ Lee, I'm not mad at it. Be happy. This is what sports entertainment is about.
giving fans what they want is rarely the wrong call. Rarely the wrong call. But Juan Guzman saying, is AJ Lee cleared to wrestle? And what do you know of Lesnar's contract? Well, that's something else that we were planning on talking about. I don't know how much want to talk about it. But
Sure.
I know. Listen,
it's news. I'll talk about it. Brock's deal is a very puzzling one. So FightfulSelect.com reported that he was coming into town yesterday, which was very interesting. Probably did that so he wouldn't find out, but it actually helped us find out, because people in WWE are like, why the hell is this man here so early? What's going on? Why does he need to be here way ahead of time? But Dave Meltzer had reported that Brock's contract had actually lapsed at one point. Now, I can't speak to that being true. I know he wasn't off the internal like merchandise stuff and off the internal roster, so to speak. But he is not working on the same deal that he did before. And if I honestly listen, if I were him and I were in that position and they came crawling back to me, I'd probably be like, protections and provisions. Because listen, this man has understood. He's watched what's going on. He understands he could be pulled off TV at a moment's notice. Guys, I was in, I think it was Tampa or something. Here's a fun one. You want to know how I found out specifically that Brock Lesnar wasn't in town? Because I walked up to a steakhouse and they go, oh, wrestling. Brock Lesnar just canceled like a $10,000 reservation for us.
Brother.
And I go, oh, wow. Okay. I was like, well, there's a reason for that.
Sure.
And then I found out, oh, yeah, he's not going to be at the Rumble. He's not going to be there. But it's one of those things where they weathered the storm of criticism through the first night. And in our line of work, there's a phrase, today it's in the news, tomorrow they're wrapping dead fish with it. And it's what I tell any wrestler that believes, like when they accidentally post a picture of AI art and everybody pretends like their career is over, or they post the wrong color hand emoji or something and people are like, oh my God, that's terrible. I'm like, guys, somebody's going to do something way, way dumber tomorrow. With Brock Lesnar, I don't know that that's the case. The people that are upset are going to continue to be upset. It's just at this point, WWE does not care. That's the reality. They do not care. They have made it abundantly clear that they don't care about the people that are upset by that. As far as AJ Lee, yes, she is cleared to compete.
Tom Townsend asking, any info on her contract, set number of appearances and dates, or semi-regular?
I would not expect her to be like full-time or anything. Like I don't see her working the house shows if they ever bring back a super show or anything. Maybe like December 26th house shows or something like that. I could see that, or like a live event in Chicago. I could see that as well during the holiday tour. All I was told is that they were optimistic it wasn't a one-off, which, listen, anytime somebody comes back after 10 years, you pretty much living on borrowed, or you feel like you're watching them on borrowed time. It's just now pro wrestler primes are their late 30s, and she is in her late 30s. She retired in her 20s. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, because I felt that way with Christian. Like, I thought he looked great in the ring, and I was like, well, he had this layoff. Like, his bump card was untouched for a while. So injuries, yes, but the rest of your body having some time to recuperate kind of makes it interesting. But I love this from Ryan Adams saying Finn has competition for the best abs in the company now. She looks great. She looks
sick.
Great.
She's incredible. She stayed in that shape the whole time, from what I understood. So I talked to people that were on heels, and they said that she seemed like kind of nervous to do the in-ring stuff. And then like very soon it was pretty clear that, yeah, she's good at this. Because that was, listen, those were big connections for the Punk return as well. I was asking people that had worked on heels, like, hey, how was he in the ring? Because like we don't have a frame of reference for the last 7 years. And they were really liked on that set.
Vin saying this will be a day in history. Brock returned to go away booze, and AJ the heroic return. WWE did the turns in one night. Can't wait for Stephen A and AJ Lee. Tony was smart to pivot.
I do not want to see Stephen A. Smith talking about pro wrestling. I don't want to do it.
I don't have
I'm
any
good on that
point of reference with him. I'm like, I just see the memes, but I also don't watch. I don't watch TV or any. I don't have eyes, as it turns out. So
I watch nothing but movies, true crime, wrestling, and sports. So I see a lot of Stephen A. Smith, but that whole genre of screaming at your panelist is something that Vince Russo tried to get me to do years ago. And I said, no, I don't want to manufacture arguments for the sake of our show. I want to appeal to smart people. I want to appeal to, good people, not people that just want conflict, contrary to what my social media may imply.
But Sean, you don't want to argue about the sauce of chicken nuggets?
I mean, I do. Listen, I put honey on my chicken nuggets.
There's
not uncommon.
An art to yelling about wrestling, and I think Alex Pulowski has nailed it. So you can subscribe to FightfulSelect.com if you want.
He doesn't scream though. Alex does it eloquently, and then sometimes he'll talk like this. Now,
watch the product. No.
One thing he's going to be screaming about is the Tom Green 2001 classic, Freddy Got Fingered. Guys, I know a bunch of you are like, Sean, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to give you the quick rundown. I had Kate and Alex review Hot Rod. Fantastic comedy. Put some Hot Rod emojis in the chat if you agree with me. And then after that, I disagreed with everything they said. They buried one of my favorite movies. And I
didn't hate it as much as Alex, but it was not my favorite.
Oh, I was rewatching it today. You didn't like it. You liked a couple things. Anyway, I said, you know what? This world needs Alex to review, and Kate as well, because I think that Kate kind of grounds him in some way. A Freddy Got Fingered review, because I watched this movie, and I've said this like a million times. 15 minutes in, as a Tom Green fan, I watched it and I go, I don't know if this movie was horrible or intentionally bad to the point that it was art. And I need this review to happen. Now, there are reviews that gets like millions of views out there for this movie. Tom Green's watched them. But I don't think this will do it. But what you all can do is show up Thursday night. Do we have a time set, Kate?
I don't believe so. But you created the broadcast. So
aren't y'all guys running against TNA show? You guys are running and counter-programming yourselves?
Who gives a shit, right? Move it to 3 p.m. Eastern.
We can just move it to 7, and then we'll only be going till like 11. So you'll be able to watch the back. So,
but in order to get this review done, I had to pay, I will tell you guys, $1,150 for two personalized puppets. One that looks like Kate, one that looks like Alex. Now, here is my line of thinking. I've already sold 2 sponsorship ads. If anybody wants to hit me up, $100 a pop. You'll get social mention. I got like 320,000 followers. It plug in the description and an ad read from me. But I fully believe you all will send a ton of super chats and humper chats, but they are going to integrate these puppets onto their show, and hopefully their audience, which let me tell you, not highest common denominator that I love to
Well,
appeal
hold
to.
on.
Definitely hooligans, definitely terrible people. Hopefully they will embrace these characters. But to me, this Freddy Got Fingered review means something. I am going to appear at the top of this show. I am executive producer of this review. And I'm going to give you a history.
Not want to slander the SGS. It's going to turn out bad for you.
I feel like it is important that I also give a history of Tom Green at the top of the show, because if you did not exist in the late 90s, early 2000s, you're like, who the hell is that? Why does that matter? But if you were around then, you understand what a phenom this guy was, and it was kind of unbelievable. Now, in order to promote this review, I have made public on Fightful's channel the 2.5-hour review of Hot Rod that Kate and Alex did. And let me tell you, I got to be real. Some of y'all be slacking on the comments after these videos air. Y'all didn't slack on that one. I woke up to like 30 comments on that.
I love how you're so committed to this, Sean.
I need it.
Sean likes to say, I spent X dollars. I look at it as an investment opportunity.
This is me. Me, Jimmy, this is not, and let me tell you, Jimmy isn't paying for anything. Fightful Inc. pays for it. We are self-sufficient now. I spent that money. I did. Sean, I'll only watch it if you promise Freddy is the only one getting fingered. Yeah.
Daddy, would you like some sausage?
I can promise you that. This is available now on Amazon Prime. And as I've been saying, if you've got free shipping, you can watch this movie. Somebody says, how is the review of Hot Rod longer than the actual movie? Let me tell you, this Freddy Got Fingered review, it's going to clock in at longer than 87 minutes. We are there to hang out.
It's a refined taste to put on reviews that generally run longer than the things you're reviewing, as Alex and I do. I would say it's like, what is a 65-35 split of Alex to me in general. Let's talk about AJ Lee some more, though. But
yeah. Please get me the super chats so I can get the hell off of here.
Me Norma saying in 6 weeks, I demand a Cresta puppet or I'll riot. Shall we crank, darlings? Muffins saying, take me out to the ball game. AJ returned. Did Larry get a treat? I can only assume Larry's eating well tonight. But
Larry's having so many Chicago dogs.
That house has sold out Chicago venues twice on rumors. And I'm just like, when's Larry the dog shot? When's the Westminster Kennel Dog Show coming to town? And like, I put the rumors out there.
The puppy bowl, come on now.
I think that's only fair. I think it's bad business not to do it in Chicago at this point. But Robbie asking, in your minds, what's the perfect booking here? I mean, I would do, assuming AJ wants to like work, I would say an IC title run would be great, because we do have to talk about the rest of the show. And this women's division is a little cold right now. I feel like AJ coming in with the star power she has to help out some of this younger talent. I would say this is a criticism of the men's side too, but we gotta start signal boosting some of this younger talent, as much as I want the dream matches in there too. I say do an IC title run. That's where I'm at. Sean, what about you? What do you say? And then we'll ask Cresta.
What was the question? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you.
That's crazy.
Look, not everything is going to keep your attention like a Freddy Got Fingered review, but an AJ Lee booking, like what's your ideal booking for her?
Naturally, this is going to be the first program. If it leads off into a singles program, well, then I think that is something that could actually get some people watching again, depending on how she is in the ring. We have no idea. Like if she goes in there and shits the bed, which I don't expect, especially with Becky Lynch, because it's going to mean something to Becky Lynch as well. I think that Becky Lynch will see this as a challenge in a good way, and I think we're probably headed to that.
Becky has been great in that role, working with Trish Stratus, working with Nikki. Like she's been able to help people that aren't necessarily in like a constant and active wrestling rotation. But Brandon said, I started watching in 09 too. WWE champ Jeff Hardy got me into wrestling. That CM Punk feud was gold. This was when I became a Punk stan. It was not just the pipe bomb. It was before that with the straight edge Jesus angle as well. So excited to see someone who watched and got into it while the product was bottomed out, because there's not a lot of us out there that were like, oh, 09, hell yeah, great time to get into wrestling. Ruse is saying hilarious AJ Lee and Brock on the same show, F the Fed. We'll get into some more of that later, but I understand and empathize with how you feel on that. Bad Robot saying, hello, favorite post show. Well, hello, Bad Robot, who's not so bad at all.
He's a great robot.
He's the best robot. Roomba of the stars, if you ask me. But I tried following the hashtag for AJ tonight. Mostly just saw people complaining about ads. You need to teach them transitions. Look,
the show flow tonight was definitely, there were some choices. There were some choices like running segments while your champion's in the ring. There were some choices made tonight.
Choices were made tonight. I actually feel like I would have opened with what we closed with and closed with what we opened with. We'll talk about that as we let Sean actually get off of the stream. But Tony Dyer saying, so glad to see AJ back. Excited for the Palooza match, but much more excited to see what she does after. I am intrigued about what AJ is going to do longer term.
As long as I see a Roxanne Perez match, that's all I care about. I'm gonna be real with you.
You gotta have AJ's daughter versus her mom. Jonathan saying, I hope they do a behind the scenes video, if only to see the other women's reactions, especially Bayley and Roxanne. This has got to be a WWE Unreal moment, I would think.
I loved the red herring of them having Rhea Ripley go talk to CM Punk on Monday. I thought that was actually very well done, because there were people that were hitting me up saying, well, okay, maybe it's just Rhea. And I'm like, no. It's not Rhea. Like anybody but AJ Lee at that point. All due respect to Rhea or Bayley or anybody but AJ Lee would have been a disappointment in that situation, and taking a shot at any of those performers.
No, it would be the situation you're putting those incredibly talented performers in. That would be unfair. But Jeff saying, can you imagine July 13th, 2015, when Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky debuted on Raw and AJ had been with the Bella Army or Tamina and Naomi? It is wild, that changing of the guard. There's something that you feel like, what missed opportunities, but there's also something that's really beautiful about that, in my opinion, because like Sean alluded to earlier, you're kind of seeing AJ come back to the fruits of some of the labor that she laid the ground for. She was also very vocal on social media about women's screen time and things like that. So it's nice to see her be able to come back when women's wrestling has increased in both screen time and quality in what women are given, essentially. But Noise 250 saying, Sami Cena was a great match, but hated the finish. AJ Lee was a huge part of my childhood, and I'm so glad she's back for a better era of women's wrestling. I agree. And our friend Greg Cherry saying, life can be rough, but wrestling can be cool. I'm not ashamed to say that I cried when AJ came out. The best escape from life. Love Yins. Well, as a Steelers fan, I think we're going to need some additional escapes there, Greg, but
I have people that a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, because you hear things before some other people, does it change? Like, do you still enjoy wrestling? And I'm like, man, I enjoy wrestling in a different way, because I love reporting about wrestling, but more importantly, I love learning about wrestling and sharing with people. But like, when you've reported on something like this and it's that big, you're like sweaty, and your heart's beating fast, and you're excited for the moment, and you're excited for it to be fulfilled. And like, we all knew what was coming. We knew she was coming out. Like there, and as it got closer and closer, this wasn't like it's exclusive to a reporter thing. Everybody knew she was coming out. They would not have saved that for the end. If they would have, it would have been promotional malpractice if they didn't have her come out there. And it's like, it's happening. and you're still just so pumped for it. You're just like, hell yeah, man.
I remember, Sean, when you did a breakdown on covering the CM Punk story available on FightfulSelect.com. It was one of my favorite things that we've done behind the paywall because that moment meant so much to me as a wrestling fan as well. But I had asked you, like, as AEW was dropping all these hints, were you feeling more and more like, thank God this story I broke is getting confirmed more and more week over week? And you had said, yeah, there was relief creeping in. So it's got to be a completely different Band-Aid ripped off.
I had a wrestler that was like, whatever you do, just make sure, just ask Tony personally, because they thought that he would be like livid about it. And I've only encountered a livid Tony Khan one time, but it wasn't then. But it just go listen to the podcast. I'll repin it pretty soon. I'll post it in our updates because that was a great podcast, and it's the first of many I'm going to do eventually where I take you guys behind the scenes of finding out, breaking a story, all that. And that one was like a month-long thing, and then nobody cared about it within the day because Vince McMahon retired like an hour after we filmed it.
An absolutely insane passage of wrestling that took place.
Yeah.
But Bunny, thank you for the chat. If you have a question or something that you want read on air, just type it in the general chat with some asterisks, and our wonderful moderator, who thank God is here tonight, Louise, will take care of us for it. But a couple more chats before we let Sean go. But Robbie saying, how would you have managed the moment tonight if it wasn't AJ Lee returning? I would not have booked Chicago and hinted that she would have come back. I'll say that much.
Becky wouldn't have been involved at all. It wouldn't have been a Becky thing because you would have forgotten that Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are in a stable with Seth Rollins this week because they were not to be seen with him. But they leaned into the Becky element of things. But she would not have been involved Monday in that promo. She wouldn't have been involved on Sunday. She wouldn't have been involved with Punk whatsoever if it wasn't AJ Lee.
Before you go, a lifelong question. Speaking of Punk in 09, this Fire Burns is way better than Cult of Personality, Sean.
It's good. It's very good. Which
way do you break?
Listen, I like Killswitch Engage an awful lot, but I will go this Fire Burns. I'll go slightly, but I do love Cult of Personality. And Orion Ben says SRS Alex Palowski versus Simon Miller. Book it. Well, I'll tell you what I did book. Simon Miller for an episode of The Hump in mid-October. Check that out, guys. We have Tom Campbell on next week. Jimmy's taking a hiatus. We got Denise Salcedo the following week. Frank the Clown the day that his Fox show drops, the week after that. Then Luke Owen. Then the return of Ibu. I'm sure people will be very normal about that, even though I promoted it 4 times now. And then we have Simon Miller. And I've booked some additional people, but we're just not announcing those yet. But I want to thank you all for joining me. And again, please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We would greatly appreciate it. You can get your questions in tomorrow for this week's Q&A show.
Subscribe to Fightful Select. Sean, thank you so much for popping on here and your work and covering all these big returns. We appreciate it over here. Gets me paid. I'm not complaining.
Fightful Select, less than crack.
That needs to be our new shirt, less than crack.
Allegedly, but we're going to keep talking about this and whatever else you guys want to talk about. So keep those super chats and humper chats coming. It's funny. Sean mentioned that he's got kind of this residency coming up on the hump because Jimmy Van is taking a hiatus. He's going to have a rotating cast. We're going to have that here on the Smackdown post show as well because Cresta is going to take a bit of a break. I was joking that she's leaving her boots in the ring for tonight for the next 6 weeks or so. But Cresta, before we get back to some of these chats, let's talk about the actual moment with AJ Lee, because I am so excited she's back. I'll talk about what she means to me as a wrestling fan a little bit more in a moment, but I feel like they actually could have handled the return aspect of it a little bit better. Overall, though, incredibly hot crowd, huge return, great program to walk into. There's just certain things that I would have changed about it. I didn't particularly love what we got at a commentary on this either, and I probably would have opened the show with it if I was producing it, but that's nitpicking in the grand scheme of things. A huge return for WWE, a huge return for wrestling and women's wrestling. You don't have a ton of attachment to AJ, but you kind of picked up on the vibes here a little bit. What were your thoughts on what we got with AJ Lee's return tonight?
I'm not mad at it. Again, for people who don't know, I got into wrestling around 2018, 2019, Money in the Bank, and seeing only thing I've seen about AJ Lee is old videos, her versus Saraya, and the conversation about how she was one of the greatest, not one of the greatest per se, but like she was ahead of her time. Like if she was in the era now or even in AEW now, it'd be a different story. She would literally be certified in your Mount Rushmore of women. So it was interesting to hear you and Sean and see the super chat talking about it's great to see her come back, people crying. So I live for this. I miss this with Saraya. I miss Saraya's whole run. I miss AJ Lee's whole run. So to know that this person went away, knowing the circumstances of why they retired, knowing how WWE did them, knowing how she came back through the heel, it's awe-inspiring. I'm excited to see what she can do in the ring. Because in my mind, she's so well respected. Again, no ties, just saying from what I've observed. To me, she's so well respected that you can easily get a very good match from a Becky and easily transition into a Rhea, into a Bailey. Or if you want to do something else, you could easily do a Julia, a Zelina Vega. Like, I don't think that there'll be any issues from anyone anywhere. You know what I mean? I hope that I don't know if she retired because she was also injured or she had, like you said, bumps on the bump card. But if she can go, she can go. I'm sports excited. And everyone else's excitement is making me more excited. So I'm just observing right now. And when she really wrestles in the ring, which I was hoping she'd put Becky in that octopus stretch. And also shame on you, Seth, for leaving your woman down there like that. But but yeah, like the worst. But I mean, overall, I'm excited. And your excitement is making me excited because it's like, if that's someone you like, I trust your wrestling opinion, you know?
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know if that's wise, but I appreciate it. But Bunny had sent in $10 before and added this comment. I cried at the club so much people thought I was sad. I was happy for AJ Lee. Look, if we're crying in the club, I get
this is
it.
the night to do it.
I'll just say this as much as I can. Like, AJ was ahead of her time. That was really, really well said, Cresta, because I said earlier it was at a time when women's wrestling, they didn't really care about work rate. And the only thing they cared about less than work rate was screen time for women and giving them any opportunity to become entities of their own. And I feel like AJ was able to break through a lot of the restraints by pure demand and talent. She was the best women's promo at the time. I think that's pretty much undeniable. I think in-ring wise, she was doing stuff that other women weren't doing, even just because they didn't have the opportunity to in a lot of ways. But this was the first time we were getting actual matches. This was the first time we were getting long matches. It wasn't hair pulling 2 to 3 minutes, go get yourself over in that time. And that is not a slight at the women that were working at that time. That is absolutely a shot at the company that was treating them this way at that time. So take that for what you will. But you saw AJ start to open the door little by little, and then eventually it just kind of blew open. And it was followed up by this next generation that Sean was kind of talking about in the 4 Horsewomen and all these things. So it was kind of this perfect storm of really AJ pushing through a lot of barricades and a good generation that was an underbelly that was coming up behind them. Charlotte, Becky, Sasha at that time, Bailey, and everything we've seen since, right? So, and I know a lot of people, and I'm not the world's biggest Ronda Rousey fan, so don't get that twisted. But I will say the women don't main event WrestleMania if she doesn't come into this company, probably. So there was this sudden demand for women in combat sports, and she was at the front of it. And she was also not afraid to use her voice. Like, she was challenging Stephanie McMahon with Give Divas a Chance. She was, I think, taking pride in and feeling a sense of responsibility to women's wrestling in a way that maybe wasn't on the radar so much. And to see what that's kind of led to now and to see her get to come back to a completely different landscape, I think is actually really beautiful. And in the time she wasn't wrestling and the times that she was injured, she was a Raw GM. She was interfering in CM Punk and Daniel Bryan at the time matches and truly was the main character. I think it's cool that Becky Lynch is probably the most women's main character there's ever been as far as a women's wrestler on WWE programming, because she just had more of that in her destiny, I guess. If you say she's the best women's wrestler in the world, Sports Illustrated is saying she's the best women's wrestler in the world. Kate at Fightful is now saying she's probably the greatest women's WWE superstar in the world as far as being the most well-rounded version of what WWE wants from a women's wrestler. I would say Io Sky is probably the best in-ring wrestler in the world, maybe either gender. But I think this program is special because of the nuances that are underneath it. Now, as far as the actual moment goes, I'm actually, and I hate to say it because I'm a fan of Michael Cole's work on the broader scope. There are certain things that it feels like WWE manufactures with him, but him kind of just saying like, oh my God, it's AJ Lee, the Trailblazer, CM Punk's wife. I get that that's a part of the story. And he said crazy is her superpower. He didn't really talk about like her contributions to wrestling. He didn't talk about her championships. I felt like there was kind of a lackluster call with that.
It was kind of generic.
And it didn't really speak to the woman that AJ Lee is as much as like, remember these very surface level things. I don't mind the defining her as CM Punk's wife thing because that's such a big part of the feud. But I did feel like all the propping up that I just did, you could have put a sliver of that on television. It didn't really feel like they kind of propped that up. I also would have just opened the show with this because I think everybody in the crowd was sitting around waiting for this moment between the John Cena match and here. It just felt like people did not care about Aleister Black versus Damian Priest. People did not care about Julia versus Mia Yim at
brother.
all. So I would have just switched to the sequencing of that. That's something that AEW got right with the CM Punk return for sure, was just getting it out of the way, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I will say that, but what do you think kind of about the actual execution of the moment that we got here?
I do agree. I think that AJ Lee should have gone on first. I think sometimes it is about how you leave them. And Brock Lesnar being the end of the show, that would have been annoying. But I think, I don't know. Because I also agree with Sean in the sense that it would have been promotion malpractice to have AJ Lee go on first. But knowing that Brock Lesnar was the other person, I would have rather you put AJ Lee on first so I could turn my TV off. You know what I mean? Like that's just me personally. I would personally like to see her do more, but it's the first night. We had like 3 minutes when she came out. I do think that it was very, 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 very foreshadowed. Seth staying up in the rafters. I'm so sorry. I don't care. If I was a man, and even if my wife could take care of herself, the moment another man came to the ring and I know my wife hit him, I'm going down to the ring too. Because you say you don't hit women, but then you become Bubba Ray Dudley real quick. Nah, man. I'm going down to make sure my wife is okay. So I will say again, this was very telegraphed. And for all of that, you should have done it first. But I understand why you did it last. Not mad at the moment. It could have been done better, but I think because I have how can it be done better? I'm not mad at it. So
yes, overall those are nitpicks, but this is very clearly a win overall for WWE programming. I mean, Norma's saying, was AJ fired on her wedding day or just Muffin Man? Just Punk. AJ finished out her contract and then retired because of injury, but I know someone who might retire because they got asked to do a Freddy Got Fingered review, and he is hovering here in the background. But joining me next Thursday is Alex Pulowski. We're going to talk Freddy Got Fingered. You said you wanted to come over here to promote it. Sean talked about this for like 10 minutes already, but I think your perspective is a little bit more important on this than Sean's, to be honest, because we're the ones tasked with reviewing this thing.
Have you watched it yet?
I have not. I am not. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
I watched it last night, and with your blessing, I think Sean should return the puppets because I can't possibly come through with my end of the bargain. It's only fair that Sean go in, try to get his money back because if that man brought Jim Henson back from the dead and he restarted the Muppet Show with me designing all of the Muppets, it would not be worth watching that again.
I seen it when I was younger in the late 90s, 2001. And again, all I remember is, Daddy, would you like some sausage? And I remember Tom Green for context, guys, Sean didn't tell you the truth since we're getting derailed. Tom Green in the late 90s was a menace. That man had, I don't know what the terms of service was, but he had to get surgery on his penis. And he live streamed it before people were doing that. So that shows you the level of what kind of movie this is. So,
Which, as we know, is Alex's sense of humor to a T. So,
Alex looks distraught. His flabbers look gassed. He looks like he's about to pass away.
I had flashbacks of some of the stuff that I saw in that movie last night.
Alex is flat out traumatized. There's not a puppet in the world. We got $5 for your sourness, though. Just the pure joy of it all.
I'm glad. That's good.
But so at least it'll be profitable and maybe in the long run.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I know Sean's like, I'm not going to wait to get my Sean says, and I quote, I'm not going to wait until you guys get the puppets so I can get my review. Like if the puppets don't end up showing up, I'm going to need that $1,000. Like,
yeah, no, I understand.
I'm like the puppet isn't enough, but at least I'll have something. Like Sean, Mr. Uncle Moneybags, Sean Ross Sapp says, I have 3 PS5s. I think I might sell one of my 3 PS5s. If the puppets get lost somewhere in shipping, I'll just take the PS5 you're going to sell. You can just give that to me. It's worth the same amount of money as the puppet that you're buying me. I'll just take the PS5 instead. But I'm leaving here with something. Like there's no way I'm not getting something for like when they pay out like emotional distress.
Mm-hmm.
You like when you sue somebody for money, part of the things you can sue for is emotional distress. I'm going to be under emotional distress for the rest of my life from having to watch that.
And you only accept apologies in cash. I don't know what your going rate is, but mine is $4,444. Maybe yours could be $7,777.
Maybe I love that.
Maybe.
I thought when Sean tweeted he was going to sell one of his PS5s for this, he got hacked, like how all the wrestlers get hacked by people that say they're selling PS5s. But no, he wasn't joking about that. But this upcoming Thursday, already on 9/11, we're reviewing Freddy Got Fingered.
Yeah.
So
I have been emotionally damaged.
Yeah, emotional damage. True.
This is funny. I love my job. This is the best job I've ever had.
I'm gonna sue on the grounds of we had a verbally binding contract, and the contract was that we review a movie in exchange for puppets, and it sounds like this isn't even really a movie, so he's not holding up his ends of the bargain because the terms of what has been presented is not fit. Megan saying an unsafe workplace. We're gonna call OSHA. We've got this. We're gonna be fine with this, Alex. We've got this covered.
Meet Nermus, you know what the PO box is. I'll take it. My PS5 has a bad HDMI port. You know how much it costs to fix that? As much as buying a used PS5.
A new PS5.
so I will take the one you are offering me. You know the P.O. box. You can send it.
You heard it here first, guys. Send Alex your PS5 so that we can review this movie.
Now I want to see what other terrible early 2000s
That's all Sean watches. This guy watches primarily bad 2000s movies.
That's all he does.
Have you guys seen Euro Trip at this point?
No, he wanted us to watch that. We can't
risk Cresta putting these ideas out into the universe.
Stop putting these ideas into Sean Ross Sapp's head.
Alex, did you before you go, did you skip around your office, or are you a piece of crap?
Listen, I fully admitted this on my show. Never seen an AJ Lee match. Not one.
Oh yeah, you weren't watching at the time.
I wasn't watching at the time. So like I've seen her, I've seen promos, I've seen segments she was in, I've seen clips of matches she had, but I've never seen front to back an AJ Lee match. Like, I'm not going back to watch Pink Butterfly era women's wrestling. I'm not going back and watching that. So like,
I cannot emphasize enough how much that was not the question. I asked if you skipped around your office or your studio.
No, I did.
That was Alex. You can catch us with our review of Freddy Got Fingered.
Kate is drunk with power tonight. Everyone's getting kicked off this stream.
Get out of here. We haven't even started reviewing the show and we're an hour in.
We started reviewing this show.
Oh my God. There's not a ton to talk about outside this return. Let's be so for real about it. But Vin saying Twitter summary, streamers crying, Jack Perry being thanked, the Triple H point post, Stephanie and AJ podcast coming. Yeah, that sounds about right. I try to keep in mind that most of Twitter is bots and pieces of crap for human beings. But some of you are great. Some of you are great. The people that are in this chat and also on Twitter are great. The ones that are not, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Bunny, another $10 that you sent our way. Again, if you have another chat, you can feel free to throw that Luis's way. But also with this one saying, I think one thing to remember, CM Fun got fired on his wedding day. I feel like no one talks about how AJ's marriage was affected as well. Yeah, she was still working at the company. Yeah. It's I don't know of anything of like any residual drama. She was kind of wrapping up at that point already, and she was working with a severe injury. So I don't think it was like a not that I had heard like any sort of residual whatever, but this definitely feels like time heals some wounds, and there was a changing of the guard as far as people in power. So you just hope it goes well.
And money also helps. Money fixes a lot of wounds.
Money fixes a lot of them.
Yeah, you fired my husband on our wedding day, and I was messed up. So how many zeros do you want for me to come back?
A couple zeros.
I need at least 7. I need at least 7. Oh, you don't want it? You don't. That's I'm retired.
Robbie saying it's never too late for wrestling. You guys have killed the coverage of the evening. Cresta is killing it. Cresta is wonderful. We are gonna miss her on her hiatus, but we will welcome her back with open arms when she is back because we love having her around here. Joshua David saying, I like wrestling and I watch a fair amount of everything from Jim Crockett to AEW. Forbidden Door really deflated me. Do they bounce back? Yeah. I think as far as the ratings being down this week, the ratings were down for all of wrestling. As far as the stretch of programming we're in, it's just a tough stretch because there's a lot of people out. MJF is going to be off TV for a little bit. Swerve and Ospreay are both tending to health stuff. But I feel like people's expectations, in my opinion, around Forbidden Door are a little overblown in that when I watch Forbidden Door, I just expect it to be an all-star game. I don't need major stories going into it. I do think moving forward, they should not line it up with the G1. I think that was bad. But I think there's a lot of good things happening in AEW right now. And I feel like people overestimate how many overlapping fans there are. There are a lot of people that watch AEW and don't watch WWE. There are a lot of people that watch WWE and don't even know what AEW is, quite frankly. And there's a lot of people that watch both at separate times or even the same time. And the idea that one promotion is unhealthy when you look at the general media landscape is ridiculous. Wrestling right now as a whole, as an industry, is absolutely killing it right now.
Yeah.
And when you compare it to ratings other than live sports, it pretty much takes the cake with anything else that's out there in a time where ratings are pretty dead. And we also have to remember these are now on streaming services as well. Like a lot of people watch on Max. So don't let numbers comparatively make you think that wrestling is in an unhealthy place, because there are a lot of TV programs that would love to be anywhere near 500,000 people plus a streaming program. It's low for them for a week, but like, yes, I do think they bounce back. I will say AEW 2 years in a row has had a steep post all out fallout because Tony Khan goes away and focuses on football. And in my belief, they can't expect the Continental Classic to bail them out every single time. I would like to see some more consistency down the stretch and focus on Kyle Fletcher. How are you feeling about AEW, gal who reviews Collision every week?
As soon as you asked that, my throat said, I got
I threw it to Cresta and she was like, I have my thoughts.
I think AEW is fine. I think now that we've pivoted away from the Death Riders, I think there's a lot more meat on the bone. Hangman being champion, Swerve finding his place, bald Ricochet standing up to quote MVP, you got 200 pounds of beef and found your balls. Magnificent. I can't wait for that stuff. To also go on Kate's point, there's so much diversity in wrestling now. I joke and say I don't watch wrestling, but I watch too much wrestling. You can watch each different promotion. If I'm just talking about the big North American three, TNA, AEW, and WWE, I think they all offer something different. And it's different enough where you can, for example, right? Sometimes in WWE, I know the wrestling may not be the best, but I can always expect stories. What those stories are, whether they're sports entertainment or sports, this is my 13th reason, is up to WWE that week. But there's always going to be stories. With TNA and AEW, I know I'm always going to get good wrestling. Will there be good stories? In TNA, someone might get stabbed. If I want to see wrestling homicide, I'm going to watch TNA. If I want to see someone bleed like a pig, I'll watch AEW. You know, there's so much wrestling. And if you want to see real high-flying lucha grabs, there's CMLL, there's AAA. There's so much wrestling that I feel like there's no need to hate watch anything. There's no need to be like whatever. And I also agree with Kate that ratings don't equal what the wrestling is. People are watching it on stream. Some people are people are pirating it. People are watching it from friends. If you're in Discord, someone could be. It's not what it used to be. So seeing high numbers isn't the case. I think that people talking about it, the discourse about it, and Twitter's not a real place. I want to stress that off. Twitter's not a real place. It is. Shout outs if you're watching on Twitter. I love you. You're the greatest of all time. But Twitter's not a real place in the sense of if you talk to wrestling fans in real life, nobody acts like that. So AEW is fine.
Very true. My actual only concern in wrestling right now is like New Japan seems to be the one that is bleeding talent and money the most, but they also have a relationship with a very healthy product. So there you go. Bunny saying AJ did mention in her book how the CM Punk fallout had a negative impact on her
mental health.
On her mental health. Yes. No, I don't doubt any of that. I think a lot of people feel like that was pretty directly Vince related because
that was shitty Vince when I read about it.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of shitty things about Vince McMahon, Cresta. That is for damn sure. I don't know if they're back, if Vince is still there. I really don't. But this, I'll say this: AJ Lee had all the leverage in the world. So whatever she wants to do is what she's doing. So thank you for the additional money you're throwing our way. It's very appreciated. Fozzie Wazzie, who had a bear, saying that it's that time of year when wrestling takes a dip. Football is king, and this is normal. I will say we're going to talk about the rest of this WWE product. AJ can't fix the rest of how bad a lot of this is. Like, I hate to be that person. I don't want to dampen anybody's time. I think John Cena and Sami did some great stuff. If you watch the middle of the show, there are some dull drums that they need to address. And there are the stuff that is weak is extremely weak right now. I love this from Sleazy Boy saying, got the wrong AJ. I thought it was going to be Y2AJ. That's another one that everyone's like.
Who's Y2 AJ now? Is that AJ Francis or AJ Styles?
I'll tell you what. I would pay money to see AJ Francis and Chuck Taylor's skipping around a ring.
I'm so sick of AJ Styles. I mean AJ Francis. AJ Francis.
Cresta shoots on AJ Francis. Let's go.
No. I'm like, this is why I'm going away for 6 weeks. I gotta shoot. Nah, bruh. And, like, he's so right. It's because he's the Miz, and y'all don't like that he's the Miz. And I hate that he's Don Callis on my TV every week, and I can't be mad at it, but damn it. I want to be mad at it. I want to be sports disgusted with you. But this is me disliking AJ Francis.
I got to interview AJ Francis at WrestleCon, and within about 14 seconds, I was like, "Oh, this guy just gets it. He's unbelievable." I got to talk to him and Big Trouble Ben Bishop at the same time, and that was one of my favorite interviews of the weekend. We had so much fun. Well, should we talk about SmackDown?
Not Cresta versus AJ Francis. No, we're both
Cresta versus AJ Francis. Cresta.
And he's a Taurus and I'm a Taurus. We're just going to swear at each other. And afterwards, everyone's going to think it's a real fight. We're going to have a beer or something. Or a whiskey.
I'm here for it. It could be, I could see a tag team. I could see Cresta joining First Class. I could see that working.
I would be fired like Casey. You want me to go fight who? I'm taking the pin. Oh, I'm Kevin Nashing it. Oh,
I'm Kevin Nashing it. She said, I love it. I love it so much. Well, let's finally get into this episode of WWE SmackDown. They started with John Cena coming out, and I immediately said, well, this is going to make the show weird because they didn't start with AJ. I thought for sure we were going to be starting this with CM Punk with a mic in his hand, Becky Lynch coming out, and then basically the end of the show I thought we were going to be getting here. But what was cool is because Chicago is generally CM Punk territory, it's not usually John Cena territory, but this was a completely different type of reception for John Cena, and I think that was cool. He acknowledged as much, right? He said Chicago has not always been kind to me because of so many of the reasons that made CM Punk so great, right? The biggest match that made them arch rivals to each other. But he does talk about how this is where he fought Kurt Angle. This is the home of the Ruthless Aggression era that put him on the map, essentially. And I just really, really love that John Cena, now that they turned him back face, is getting to do the thing that he's best at. I'm like kind of the highest level. We're going to talk about this match with Sami Zayn. But it was a long time for him to say, wow, Chicago's great. And I was like, we are stalling for time. Like this felt like we know AJ Lee is coming back, but we're waiting till the end of the episode is essentially what Cena said. But he also references it. He references skipping around the ring, etc., etc. But this crowd was hot the whole night, of course. But it was actually really, really special, I felt like, to see John Cena get this kind of reception in a city that kayfabe hated him for the majority of his career, but now him and Punk are on the same side of the coin, right? So we're going to talk about what gets set up with Sami Zayn in a moment after this, but any thoughts on kind of how we kicked off the show?
I want to say John Cena having his hero's treatment back. Thank you. Thank you. I feel bad that the heel turn didn't turn. It kind of just, you tripped. It was a heel trip. And I get it. I totally get it.
Would you say he fell back on his heels?
I would say he tripped over his tied shoelaces. And it's not his fault. Sometimes when the moment is gone, the moment is gone. And I think John Cena heel could have worked, but this is a large problem with almost all wrestling promotions at the top of the card. There's like 3 people. And once you beat all those 3 people, what are you going to do? Revisit the same 3 people? Or even worse, your truth tellers, like a Kevin Owens, is injured or they're on separate brands. So that's not his fault. It was nice to see him come back to the John Cena, never give up, heroes never die treatment. I'm not mad at the Glaze Fest because how many dates he got? He got like 5, 6 more dates.
Yeah, he's got 6 left.
Let that man rock. I don't have a connection to Cena as much as people do, but it's been very interesting to see him do this farewell tour. And I'm not going to lie, I've been getting a little choked up because I kind of feel bad for him, going from We love Cena. Cena sucks. We're sick of Cena, but ill, not the Miz. To come back, Cena. So when you come back, ill, get this guy off my screen. So, hey, I'm retiring. So hold on, wait a minute. Don't leave. I was goofing. Like, I didn't think he's gonna leave. So it's quite interesting because it's like, damn, you could tell he cares. You could tell he genuinely cares. And I don't know. I was okay with this. If this is how it's got to be, after seeing how they were glazing Sting in AEW, I'm not okay. I'm okay with a glazed donut. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think this was fine. This was fine.
I think he looks so much more comfortable, and there's a reason for that. He spent like so much of his career as a face, and I think when I look at the WWE product, I feel like emotional authenticity on the whole is not the strong suit of it right now.
Yeah.
So to get that from John Cena is a really wonderful thing. Like it's refreshing to have around here. So I'm happy for that. We get this really nice moment too with Sami Zayn, who comes out as your US champion. And this, again, you want to talk about authentic moments. Sami, I don't know why I know why he's getting booed, but it's stupid that he's getting booed in my opinion.
Chicago pissed me off so bad with that, Kate.
It's like ridiculous because it ain't his fault. But I also get it. This is how people let you know. This is how they let Cena know for years. But I love that he says, you kind of put my career on the map with an open challenge from this very title. And he talks about what that moment meant to him. He doesn't talk about the fact that he threw his arms up and injured himself. Poor guy. But I love that we get this, like, you know what? You and me, I'm going to give you a chance to win back the thing that you essentially gave me in kickstarting my career. I thought was a really nice way to pivot into that program. We move into the match, and I love that Cena is doing this. He is just throwing all these little moments into matches using moves of people that are either his best rivals or his like noted on-screen partners in a lot of ways. He uses Edge's spear. You get these RKO chants. You get all of this really, really, really great stuff. Baron Corbin, Bishop Dyer, was on In the Weeds, and he talked extensively to Jeremy and SP3 rather, about how cool it was that John Cena used the End of Days in Paris, because that's where Baron Corbin like got made as a babyface, when Paris was just like, no, we love that guy. So a great interview worth checking out. They talked about Fast and Furious, the Boo-Boos, Sad Corbin, the dog food spot. They talked about everything. So go check out that interview. But he's working these spots into matches, and I think it's really special. I love it. Sami winds up jumping down at one point and eating a go to sleep from Cena, which I thought was cute, but that's only a near fall. And of course, we have Brock Lesnar coming back and hitting an F5. And if you are a fan of this, that's great. I'm not a fan of bringing a sex pest who's currently in an investigation and not cleared from it, that he's named in 44 times, back on screen. Not here for it. And quite frankly, he gave like 3 F5s and looked blown up, which is going to lead to a completely separate point, but I get it. And it seems like the crowds like pop and then they remember. I don't know if you noticed that, but like they hear the music hit and they go nuts, and then they kind of go, oh, like it's this weird thing. Anthony Velasquez says, terrible choice to have Brock interfere in what was a really good match between Cena and Sami. I get it. I expected it. FightfulSelect.com said it was going to be there. But on top of Brock being under investigation for a sex trafficking investigation, or like a part of it rather, I also think it's predictable. I think it's boring creative. I don't think he looked all that great. I think he got blown up pretty quick in this. And I've seen this crap constantly and I'm bored by it. So I'm probably going in it with a closed mind because I don't want to see it. But I also think it's incredibly lazy. But I expected it, and I thought the match itself was a lot of fun. What do you think of the match? And then, of course, what we get for the interference from Brock on this?
I want to say that John Cena had what I thought was the stupidest but the best line of the night. When Chicago started booing Sami Zayn, he said, it's happy hour in Chicago, and I'm here for the booze, which... That is the second greatest thing I've heard about people booing them, because as a drag queen who I used to enjoy, who said, you know, when people boo me, it's fine. It's just applause from ghosts. And this is number 2 to that. This is just applause from ghosts, and it's happy hour. So I'm here for the boos. I'm not mad at that. This match, let's put it like this. For everyone saying John Cena can't wrestle, these last couple of times he's been wrestling. I gotta say, he's been wrestling, you know. At 8:32 p.m. I wrote down, I think Paul will interfere, because this was always going to end in a DQ. This was
sure.
John Cena was not going to get pinned. Sami Zayn was not losing that title. I didn't want Logan Paul to interfere, but that would make sense. But somehow this was infinitely worse, where I'm like, oh, not Brock Lesnar. I said this last week and the week before. Besides being a sex pest, you were employee of the month at one time while showing up to work twice a month, maybe ruining matches, running in. Like, bro, like, I personally don't see why you are here. Even in storyline, they say, oh, it's his greatest hits. I don't think anyone wants to see that. It's like if Roman wanted to do his greatest hits, I assure you we can skip the Brock Lesnar chapter. I assure I'm so astronomically good on that. Like, I don't care. There's no nice way to say that I don't care. And the fact that you're a sex pest makes it even worse. I definitely don't care now. It'd be one thing if you were just being annoying, employee of the month, and then you came back and maybe did some stuff, whatever. But those two things combined, get that off my screen. I'm not watching that. That being said, I'm upset that this match ended in a DQ, because this was borderline for me. Fight forever. Just do that. Fight forever for me. Just for me.
These are two of the in my opinion, the very best modern baby faces that you'll ever get. Like John Cena, literally goated, right? And then on top of that, like Sami Zayn to me is everything that a baby face should be. But you know, this race is a really good point, Cresta, because a couple of things. One, you said like Cena wasn't your guy, but you're getting a little choked up. It's funny because like I said, I started watching in 2009 and Cena wasn't my guy either, but it's crazy that it feels like that era is now slipping into the past. And I said this earlier, like, so is Roman Reigns' era. So it's very weird that like those two are kind of exiting at the same time. But I also feel like, look, I'm so excited AJ Lee is back. When I look at this product, Cresta, I'm like, give me something that is not a 2010 to 2015 nostalgia trip. When I think that Julius Creed is sitting on the frickin' bench playing fifth fiddle to 4 other Americanos from Europe, it makes me weep because I saw what this guy could do in NXT. When I see Carmelo Hayes still in a tag team with The Miz, I want to scream, because God forbid we do something with young talent that isn't Braun Breaker. I say it every week. I'm tired of saying it, but the roster push is just older and older. And I want to see young stars of today get to show out right now.
People take it one step further. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, like, nobody that watches only the main roster has any idea what a freak of nature Julius Creed is. That guy is like early Shelton Benjamin feels all around, and they are missing the boat with this kid. And what's ridiculous is when those guys came up, they got over because of their wrestling. Everyone saw the Creeds and said, those guys are awesome. Look at the way that they wrestle. But they like resent that when people get over because of their wrestling. So they gave them this goofy ass gimmick, and they are completely missing what is special about both of the Creeds, but especially Julius Creed. Anytime I see that guy wrestle, I'm like, put every belt on him. But instead, I'm here watching these 2010 to 2015 main eventers fighting each other constantly. We're getting Drew McIntyre versus Orton. Like, when are we going to make some young stars in this place? Like, Triple H just cannot get over this hump. But sorry, Cresta, go ahead.
Nah, even with that being said, or at least use new people, right? Right. So you already got Seth doing this much. You got CM Punk at the top of the card. If you really want to do me and my wife, you've got Zelina Vega and Aleister Black right there. You could have did that first, bro. It would have elevated both of those people who are both really good. I'm a Zelina Vega stan, so I'm always going to bring her in the conversation. is real graps, cry me a river. You know what I mean? Like, like you could have did that. You literally had Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, who are fired, shoot fired, not really fired, but Carlito's really fired, but not R-Truth is fired. You know what I mean? Like, there were things you could do where Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. Wasn't there a time where Johnny Gargano was your Silver Surfer, where that was the guy for you? Like, why not elevate him? I'm not a Gargano fan. I'm not a LeRae fan, but I won't sit up here and lie that these two did. That's a wrestling couple if I ever did see one. Yes,
Sure.
God. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing in the chat people like, well, there's Obafemi, Carmelo Hayes. There are so many other people, in my opinion, that we could use to spread out the elevation love. But you know, and then we got to bring back Brock Lesnar. I'm like, we don't have to do that. You could take somebody big who's sitting in the background. You could even make Damian Priest just be a jerk for no reason. But alas.
It is nuts. People bringing up Obafemi. I agree with you. I don't know if everybody realizes how young he is at this. He's insane. I think he's a generational talent. I don't necessarily hate the idea of this title reign running a little bit longer and him getting called up maybe in early to mid 2026, because I think that guy has still only had like 50 matches in his career. He's upsettingly good at this. Like I will have never taken naturally to anything in my life the way this guy takes to pro wrestling, but he is that guy to the point of those chats. He is a future generational talent. He fits that like Gunther track to me. And we're going to talk about this too, because we see this great babyface versus babyface match tonight in Sami Zayn and John Cena. I think the boos were because whoever was on the opposite side of John Cena is going to get booed. And I think people are getting a little fatigued by Sami Zayn being the best loser in the whole wide world. But like that since Johnny Gargano used to in NXT was the best loser in the whole wide world. He was an amazing
to the stars.
But not even just the way they lose. The way they lose is so brilliantly done. But when I look up and down this roster, and the same goes for Raw, I gotta say, there are not a lot of heels that get properly booed. I've been beating this drum too. Seth comes out, he gets cheered. There's so many heels that get cheered. God bless Gunther doing the Lord's work of being a heel that actually gets booed. But I look at a program like this. We're going to talk about this next. But Aleister Black and Damian Priest, I mean, could not be more ice cold. Has gone on too long to the benefit of neither of them, in my opinion. I thought this was a program that originally was created to elevate Carmelo Hayes. They put him back with The Miz for some reason. I like both of these guys. I think the way Aleister Black works is really great and unique. Damian Priest, I feel like, is there's something about the way that dude moves in his promos that is like, it's calmly aggressive. He's saying really aggressive things, but he's doing it with such a controlled, ice cold tone that you're like, oh, that's like a little alarming, Damian Priest. You have no problem talking the way you do. Whereas, you know me, I love a Kevin Owens. I love an Eddie Kingston. I love the energy that they bring.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something unrepeatably special about Damian Priest in the way that he talks to people. And he's great in the ring. Nobody in the crowd gave a shit about this match. And because they were all sitting on their hands waiting, like they were waiting for AJ Lee. So I feel like it was a disservice to them. But like this has gone on for so long without stakes, without really any stipulation matches. It's just continued on and on. The Carmelo aspect of it started back in May. This has been going on since late July, I think. Just a program that wasn't going anywhere, that was put on a card. It was a well-wrestled match, don't get me wrong. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about it because they were waiting for AJ. And because while the performers have been doing an excellent job moving things forward, the creative has not. The creative has not elevated this program in any way. It has not meant anything more week over week. It's just them trading barbs and fighting. So your thoughts on this? I like the way both guys work. The crowd was ice cold for this one.
Which is crazy to me. I do like this very spooky dynamic that the both of them have, and the both of them are stiff strikers. I didn't realize how tall Aleister was until he's across from Damian Priest, who's looking at him right in the eye. This match, Everything you said was accurate. They did the best that they could. I thought they put on an excellent match, but you could not pay that crowd to pay attention. That's just, I hate to say it like that. That was just what it was. I thought Alistair really kicking the shit out of Damian at the end was gnarly. Damian being loopy the whole match. But I also think for viewers at home, the match itself was done a disservice because as soon as Alistair attacks Damian in the beginning, they separate them kind of, and then we go straight to commercial. And when we come back from commercial, Damian's now in the ring looking like someone knocked his wiener in the dirt. So it's like, I don't understand. Like, this has gone on too long with nothing. And I feel like this is a problem with both Damian and Alistair. Sometimes people don't book these guys in a way. The word I'm looking for is that it feels like we know you guys can wrestle, so go out there and wrestle. But the way that both their characters are very stoic and very, not weird, but they're stoic. I'm going to beat you. Almost like Jake the Snake, if you will. I'm cold. I'm calculated. But when you don't do anything besides go out there and put on a good match, why are people supposed to care? I know how good Damian Priest can be. I've seen him with Bad Bunny. I see how much I love him. I know how good Aleister Black can be. For better or for worse, that man has been in more roles than the Big Show, poking out people's eyes, hanging out in closets. Like, for better or for worse, this man can be in any role. So why aren't we using him like this?
I agree with you. I am ready for this program to no longer
go somewhere or do something or disappear. Go somewhere or disappear.
I want it to disappear, just like I want my internet connection to disappear to the public. You might be saying, Kate, did you hurt yourself stretching into that segue? Close. Close, I did. I might have pulled some muscles. But I'll tell you what we're not doing. We're not pulling on purse strings this year because we got NordVPN saving you so much money. ESPN Premium Plus, unleaded diesel, whatever they're doing to you on ESPN. You don't need it when you got NordVPN. Okay? You're like, AEW still on the pay-per-view model? You wish you were in Lithuania or it was a little cheaper? We got you covered on that. Sean Ross Sapp is going to tell you all about it.
If you're a wrestling fan and you're frustrated with all the services you need to watch all the different wrestling shows, Fightful has your solution with nordvpn.com/Fightful. Change your virtual location with just one click, and you'll be able to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on one Netflix account. You'll also be able to get a lot of pay-per-views at a much more affordable price than you do here in the United States. This is a must-have for wrestling fans. That way you don't have to have 7 different accounts to watch all of the shows that you want to watch. In addition to that, they have a great 30-day money-back guarantee and an incredible deal right now going on. But that's far from it. You can protect yourself on their VPN service, the fastest in the world, shield your data from snoops and criminals, protect yourselves on public Wi-Fi, and it's available on all your devices and operating systems. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Legitimately one of the most valuable partners we've ever had in the history of Fightful right now. Like, as a wrestling fan, there's not a better time to have a VPN because you know what I do to get my WWE content? I go to Canada and I watch it all on Netflix. Okay, so I'm just saying.
She goes to Joel's house.
I go to Joel's house in Toronto and I use one login and I go and I watch my content on that. It's way simpler. It saves me a ton of money in the long run. And it'll save you so much money. You can put that extra money toward FightfulSelect.com, the best $5.99 in the biz. We broke the AJ Lee news and the Brock Lesnar news and so much AEW news about injuries and stuff. So just go over there. Just go over there. Professor Chaos. Professora Chaos, excuse me, saying, signed up for Nord today. So glad. Well, if I can be the general disarray to your Professora Chaos, I would say thank you. I love that you signed up with Nord. I legitimately use it. Like it's so nice to have partners that I can quite legitimately speak to. There's so many other features we don't even talk about. Like they have password manager protection, all sorts of good stuff. But cute dog, and I love the reference to South Park. So thank you so much.
Kate, I have a question for you, Kate.
Go on.
Did you see our Humper Chats?
I did. Do you want to talk some more AJ Lee right now?
I mean, I saw someone say, you didn't read my humper chat. I'm like, don't get mad at us. There's been a lot of yapping. We're an hour, 20 minutes in, and we're only on the second.
We got more chats in the hopper, but let's talk about these humper chats. Let's talk about this one from Chris Moon, who says, it's great to see AJ return. Saw her at Raw before Mania 31. The girls who looked up to her are her age when she retired. If Kate and Alex still do wrestling movies, you should check out the film Sacramento. AJ Lee is it. We do. So here's the thing. This is the other part of how we got into Freddy Got Fingered. Alex and I review movies and TV that wrestlers are in. Okay. And that was the gimmick for Fightful Select. And then Sean said, I'm your boss and I want you guys to review Hot Rod. And so we said, well, you're our boss and you're going to pay us for it. We'll review Hot Rod. And then the Freddy Got Finger snafu happened. But I want to get back to the original mission statement of our reviews, which is reviewing movies that wrestlers are in. The worse, the better. I don't know if Sacramento is good or bad. I also can't watch scary movies because I'm a big sissy, and I know AJ and Punk have been in a lot of horror movies. But we've reviewed Santa. What's it? The Santa Muscles movie with Hogan. Santa's Got Muscles. Santa Muscles.
Oh, I don't know.
Horrendous. There was something on the Faith Network with Jericho where he raised horses and stuff. We did Hulk Hogan on Walker Texas Ranger. We've got the market locked.
Flag on the play. Hold on. Wait, you can't wait.
Hulk Hogan solving racism on Walker Texas Ranger by building a teen center. We had some fun with that one.
Wait, no. Chris Jericho was on a Christ network.
It was like the Faith Network, and there were parts 1 and 2 of it. And there was I blocked it out of my memory as soon as I could. But I just remember messaging Alex Pulowski and just saying horse semen, because there's a part where that's like his business. He was breeding horses or whatever.
I have to tell you, finding out faith-based lore from people is fantastic. Fun fact, I grew up 7-day Adventist. If you guys don't know what that is, that means I went to church on Saturdays. While you guys were playing Mario, I was playing Noah's Ark and Escape from Bethlehem and Escape to Jerusalem.
Saturday night's main event was headlined by the Lord in Cresta's household.
Hallelujah. Okay. When the sun went down on Friday, the Sabbath began. Okay. Until the sun went down on Saturday evening. And even then, you weren't free. So I like finding obscure, really bad faith-based lore. And for the record, all of those games I mentioned were hard as shit.
I believe it because you're supposed to have faith, not be good at it, right? That's
that's another conversation for another time. Let's just say, in one of those things, you're literally pregnant Mary on the back of a camel, and you're only attacking.
No!
I'm so serious. It's so hard, and it's so hard too.
I can't stress this enough. Well, there's 2 things you guys need to know. The first is, in Lexington or around Lexington by Sean, there is a place that has a mini golf course that is set up with the Bible that Sean calls Jesus Golf. So I feel like at some point you need to play Jesus Golf with Sean. But I will also let you know that in your hiatus, you're going to need to revisit some of these games, and we're going to need you to talk about them on this review because,
oh my God,
my goodness,
Jesus games are serious. Bro, Noah's Ark at one of the last levels, you hear the water coming.
Shut up. Oh my God. No pressure, just all of humanity.
And just hurry up and get these poisonous snakes and these polar bears that are in the same forest. Don't think about it.
Don't think about it. That was before global warming too. My God.
Don't think about it. If you think about it too much, that's blasphemous. Stop.
We have a Fightful Twitch channel that's been dormant for a minute. I'm gonna need us to dust it off for Cresta.
While I'm off, like, hey guys, do you like the Lord? Do I have something for you? And before anyone says it's blasphemous, God had a sense of humor. You can't convince me. To teach people a lesson, he did. Checks notes. You got swallowed by a whale. Checks notes.
It's true.
So
It's
he's got
true.
jokes, okay? He's got jokes. I think I'm allowed to make these jokes, all right?
You are allowed to make whatever jokes you want. This is your house, okay? The Chris Jericho's movies were called Country Hearts, and then there was like a Christmas special. He plays a retired rock star and father in the film that focuses on themes of family and faith. I think he prays a tornado away, I want to say. I blocked this out of my head as soon as I could. It's a lot. People are like, is he showing up in WWE? Is he showing up in AEW? I'm like, he's showing up on the Faith Network, people. The Faith and Family Network.
He's going to be the new star in Jesus Christ Superstar.
He would kill it. Let's be so for real.
Honestly, I hate that he would. But can you imagine Judas and Mama?
You're not allowed to take a hiatus anymore. This is too much damn fun. Guys, keep those super chats and humper chats coming. We've got another humper chat from Rafael Garcia saying, I will say the greatest thing about AJ Lee's return isn't just for the moment. It's that Lou Thez can now rest easy knowing the state of his press is in good hands. I was getting worried because some of them were looking dodgy at best. I live. Yes, it did. One thing about AJ is, and Sean said it before, she's kind of always been in that shape. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what constitutes ring shape. I know when I see Brock Lesnar and The Rock gassing out after doing their signature moves twice, that ain't it. But AJ looked good today doing what she did. And she has certainly maintained it and the body of an athlete this entire time, it seemed. So I'm very, very happy for her. Very happy that she gets to come back in wrestling shape, it seems. And Meet Norma saying, my moral compass leads me away from WWE. I'll come back for Evolution 3 or Obafemi versus Gunther. ESPN Plus can kiss my crits, Nording myself elsewhere. Bruvs. Well, thank you for using Nord. It's very appreciated as we work through this episode of SmackDown. Mello Don't Miz are still a team. Sure are. Nick Aldis is walking in the back and finds Carmelo. Carmelo says he wants a shot at Sami Zayn, but The Miz comes over and asks for a title shot, and Aldis says he'll consider it. Hayes and Miz argue a bit, but a car pulls up, and here comes Becky Lynch, which leads into what we've kind of already talked about, but my God, I do not need a slow burn Mello Don't Miz breakup. End it. I'm done with it. This is ridiculous. What's his you? I'll ask you this, because I think we're on the same page about this. What would you rather be seeing Carmelo Hayes do other than anything? What kind of program would you like to see him in?
First of all, I'm going to get my jokes in, okay? I'm always getting my jokes in. When Carmelo was trying to do this and Miz pulled up, all I could think of is let Carmelo go. Like, let him go. Let him go. He doesn't want you no more. I don't care. Like, go away. Miz. Respectfully, go away. That being said, you're not going to like what I have to say. If he ain't fucking with the Miz, what we gonna do with him though? Because it's not like Chex Notes, you're building Damian Priest and Aleister Black, and it's not like Chex Notes, you're gonna put him against Sami Zayn, and it's not like Chex Notes, you're gonna put him back against LA Knight, who don't even go to this brand no more, and it's not like Chex Notes, you're gonna get him involved with the Wyatt Six, and it's not like Chex Notes, you're going to get him involved with the Judgment Day. And it's not like, so it's like, I hate that if I want to see Carmelo on TV, seriously, it has to be this. Because in order for Carmelo to be on TV, seriously, you either have to build up somebody else or put him in a program with like a Drew McIntyre. Sure. Put him in a program with like a Finn Balor. But for whatever reason, you have people who are at the top of the mid-card or at the top of the lower mid-card who you don't want to move up at all. And you're not even using them as enhancement. So again, what are we doing here? I want him to do literally anything else, but you would have to have a dance partner that they equally care, that they either care about or they care about a lot more than they care about you less. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I agree. I've been saying this too much, but I think it bears repeating that, like, if you watched NXT, you knew Braun and Melo were the next ones up. And when you look at the difference between where they're at, it's a little bit of, I'm going to be extremely dramatic because this is pro wrestling and it warrants drama.
Do it.
I'm appalled.
Not Logan Paul, but appalled.
No, God, no. I'm appalled by the way that Paul has handled transitioning Carmelo Hayes to the main roster. This was a number 1 draft pick, according to them. I like your idea of Carmelo and Finn. I don't care how you get there. I would love that program because I think, much like I said about Julius Creed, like people that only watch the main roster don't get to see how special some of these talent are. And they were in an NXT at a time where, how could I say this and keep my job? They were on NXT at a time where it wasn't always easy to have your talents showcased because the NXT 2.0 era leaned so much into absurdity that, like, it almost didn't feel like you were developing people. It just felt like you were like, what crazy thing can we do to make headlines?
This is a clout show. This is not a developmental brand.
You know what? Like, HBK said it was like the Wild West, and that I can't deny. But, like, you could see certain stars shine through. I could see, like, a Solo and Carmelo program. That could be good.
Solo
that could
Sikoa?
Be fun. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah.
John Everett said something nice. So even though it's not a super chat, I'm going to pull it up. But serious question, how did Fightful become the wrestling news site most involved, enticing, and fun to watch? I'm going to take a minute to put Sean over here because, quite frankly, breaking CM Punk's return story is what put Fightful on the map, kind of ahead of anything else. And Sean is someone who has done things the right way for a really long time. And it was just a matter of time until that paid off. And that was the big thing that was a catalyst. And because his reputation is so good, he's been able to maintain that for a really long time. And he also doesn't he'll attack idiots online. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't do that as much anymore, but he doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. How we became fun to watch and enticing? Well, we hired Cresta. So,
hey, Lamau, I got something nice to say about Fightful too. Let me tell you. Let me talk to you. Yeah, I will say that when it comes to news, I don't envy Sean, and I will say, like, if there's 2 people that I trust the most to tell me if I want to know backstage, it's going to be him and Dave Meltzer. And I'm not trying to glaze my boss, but I'm more likely going to trust Sean. Respectfully to Uncle Dave. I love you, Uncle Dave, okay? But respectfully, okay? That also being said, I think that at Fightful here, there's so many diverse voices. If you want sour graps, there's that. If you want, I feel like a nuanced wrestling culture take, there's Grapsity. If you want to know about TNA, respectfully, there's not a lot of places that cover TNA. We do. We have shows every day of the week by people who actually watch them. And I will say, no one here is really a character. Like, I'm a character, but not like that. Like, you're nice. Like, even Kate is a character. We're all characters to an extent. But you don't come here and we're like, well, this is stupid. And I'm a Twitter troll. And I'm mad. You're not getting that here. And sure, that'll be great for clickbait and for views. But after a while, you begin to attract the only certain kind of people where you can't even have a good faith argument. So I will give Fightful that. We keep good faith people here for the most part, except for Sean. Except for Sean.
Well, sincerely, and not to your point, not trying to be a glaze fest, but I know that with Sean not being the old white guy network was something that was a priority to him. Like, that's why we have Grapsity. That's why we have you. Denise is Hispanic. Cardozo, when he was here, I mean, he's still Hispanic, but he's no longer here. I'm a gal, right? So that he wanted that freshness because there's so much wrestling on. Iridian, we have like a 50-50 male-female split here just about. And
we have Blake Christian working here.
And we have Blake Christian on Saturday nights as well. So
Ricky Cheeto's gonna kill me.
She's taking her hiatus. She's getting her shots in now, but I only have wonderful things to say about working here. And it's the integrity also carries down through the social media and editorial side as well. I will say. But let's get back to talking about SmackDown instead of how great we are.
Sorry, guys, we glazed ourselves for a second. Glazed donuts out here at Fightful.
Well, we get this Randy and Drew segment, and on a scale of 1 to Kate and Cresta, how good was this? I don't know. This was perfectly cromulent, as I'm told they say on The Simpsons. This was perfectly fine. The 3 most dangerous letters versus the 3 most dangerous Drew McIntyre. I guess that's 4 syllables, but this was just essentially a video teaser just to remind you that this feud is continuing. So I don't have a ton to say about it because there wasn't a ton out there, but how are you feeling about this program in general? And who do you think is going to go over? I feel like this is another use of 2 guys that might be better served elevating younger talent, but I'm looking forward to the matches. I can't deny that.
I wrote no notes for this because I kept this on mute. I like both these guys, but I'm kind of sick of this feud. I agree with you. There's got to be. We could have Drew McIntyre and Carmelo Hayes. Hey, listen, I think they're both exciting to watch, but these 2 could have no storyline and I would watch it. But that being said, I want to be sports entertained. And you're only giving me the sports and not the entertainment. So I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care.
You don't have to. You don't have to. You're going away for 6 weeks. Who knows where this is going to be by then?
I'm going to watch old TNA and come back and be Alex Pulowski and be mad.
Well, you don't have to review Freddy Got Fingered, so we'll take that one. Riccatino is the vanilla fumble. Don't tell anyone on In the Weeds I said this. You know what? We're going to put over In the Weeds because they've had Dijak on. They've had Bishop Dyer on. They're a really fun morning show. I've actually started listening to them in mornings as well in real time. I used to like go back and check certain things out, but my work schedule shifted. And it really is a fun way to spend your morning. I got to say that Bishop Dyer interview was incredible. Dave LaGreca said that Bishop Dyer and In the Weeds were dead to him. So it's worth tuning into. It's worth tuning into.
Damn.
We love those guys over here. We have fun.
That's crazy. I'm not waking up at that time. So I respect them. So I'm not on Grapsity anymore. It's like, I want to get up, but those guys go for 4 hours and I wake up at 1 and they're not even halfway through their show.
It's so true. It's so true. But you know what? They get those chats, baby. They're going to talk while you guys keep talking with them. That's how that goes. Well, let's talk about this Julia and Michin match, but not before we tell you about MyBookie AG, okay? We've got a hot, young, sexy betting partner on board in MyBookie AG. Yes, you can bet on wrestling. Use the code FIGHTFUL when you do, and you'll get some extra cash sent your way. WWE PLEs are something that they always have up. They're a little more selective with what they put up there for AEW, but Fightful Select has lock picks for you whenever they're available. But if you're like, I don't know, inflation's kicking my butt and I don't know if I can afford Fightful Select, well, why don't you win some money and pay for it up front? I'm just saying. But Sean Ross Sapp is going to tell you about all the benefits of MyBookie, and you can bet on much more than just wrestling. They've got entertainment odds over there. Football season is back, baby. Make the move to MyBookie.
MyBookie AG is where Fightful is getting all of our odds, not just pro wrestling, which, yeah, you can bet on pro wrestling, UFC, boxing. That's where we're getting our odds from. If you're watching In the Weeds and they're talking about basketball odds, it's going to be from MyBookie AG. Use the code FIGHTFUL, get a $50 bonus when you deposit $100, or get a $100 bonus when you deposit $200. Check it out. If you think you know more than the average wrestling fan, head over to MyBookie. They have some odds up all the time for upcoming events, whether it be WWE, AEW, anybody. Make sure you check them out in addition to their other fantastic deals. They've been around for quite a while, very reliable. MyBookie AG. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Now, only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly, but head over, see what lines they got now. Not just for pro wrestling. Maybe you're interested in baseball, football, basketball, soccer, or just football again, right? MyBookie AG.
My bookie AG single blue note, the panda saying Bishop Dyer was on for almost an hour. He was so generous with his time, and he was such a wonderful interview. Like he spoke so beautifully and authentically about his career and just so much. Like the whole interview was so great. And SP3 and Jeremy did a great job steering that conversation. I can't put that over enough, but some really, really good stuff and just unbelievably kind with his time. We do appreciate it. And we appreciate Luis giving us our Worlds Collide rundown. Fabi Apache, I'm going to say, versus Natalia. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I'm not up on the AAA product as much as I should be, but winner is going to challenge for the Reina de Reinas title. We're going to pretend I got that right. I got to get my Duolingo to Spanish. I'm learning Japanese.
Come on now.
Your Latin American title will be Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough versus Ethan Page. So that one's got some good work in that. I'm sure Ethan Page will be bringing that fighting Canadian spirit to this one. The AAA tag titles, Pagano and Psycho Clown versus The New Day. Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice versus Finn Balor and Roxanne. That should be great, actually.
That's gonna be fun too.
Relevos Atomicos. You know what? I'm going to do my best with this. We're going to make it through. Nino Hamburguesa, Octagon Jr., La Parca, Mascarita Sagrada versus Mini Abismo Negro, Lince Dorada, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro. I got those last two right. I'm so confident about just those last
Stephanie
two.
McMahon is smiling at you right now.
I know she's a meme, but I appreciate bottomless chips at a Mexican restaurant. Okay, I'm with her on that. I'm not mad about that. Luis said I said it right, so I'm gonna take that as the win today. But speaking of taking wins, Julia defeating Mi Chin today. I am so bummed because we finally get to see Julia in action and nobody cares. She's so great. She's an incredible wrestler. I felt like commentary did a much better job on this than some of the other commentary that I mentioned earlier in the day. Mi Chin getting the win with that 7-second match or whatever it was on Kiana James was a stupid way to get here. You haven't had Julia wrestling, which is the thing that's amazing about her. And you put this on a show where AJ Lee is coming back. So this is not the women's program that people are really into tonight. I wish they ever gave a crap about this title. We've talked about it week over week, so I don't want to hammer it home here, but this match was good enough. Mia Yim is great. Like, I think she is so clever, and I think she's an underrated counter wrestler, especially. And the reason she's always thrown in these matches and programs is because she's so damn reliable. She always delivers with them. But there was just no momentum going into this. Again, similar to Damian Priest and Aleister Black, a well-wrestled match, but they just have to give some creative care to stuff. Otherwise, like, all right, AJ Lee is back. There's not much. There's no more pops left, guys. Like, we're running low on pops. You got to start caring about the product you're putting on over at some point here, right? So that's my only note. They great. Both of them are great wrestlers. This was very fun to watch. It was just like everyone's sitting around waiting for AJ Lee to come back. So the sting got taken out of this, but the story going into this also not great. Your thoughts on what we got here?
Irritating, because let me say this. Okay, I'm gonna give you all the pros first. Mia Yim's face card never declines. That is platinum black card right there. She looks so good coming in. I was like, girl, slap me. Just slap me. Just slap me. You look so good. And Julia looked really, really good too. I don't think you play Marvel versus Marvel Rivals at all, Kate, but she looked like Galacta in those colors with that neon pink and that light
know who Galacta is.
Yes, that's exactly who she. I wanted her to say, "You better stop that vehicle," but whatever. Like this, I think Julia and Mia Yim that match was great. But who watched it besides me? You would swear they were wrestling inside of a library. You know, it was incredibly frustrating because, like you said, if your build-up to this match is Mia Yim gets a schoolboy, a small package, I'm sorry, those are two different pins, but it's necessarily a roll-up, the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling. this is what we're gonna do. People don't care. This match was wrestled great. Again, I'm a Zelina Vega stan. If you're gonna take the title off of Zelina Vega to put it onto Julia, I can understand that. But at least have Julia defend it. At least have Julia wrestle. And she wrestled tonight. But to what? It's incredibly frustrating. And you know what else fried me too? You had Julia come down first. It's the champion's preference. Cut to commercial. Come back from commercial to Becky Lynch in Nick Aldis's office, which she said, you know, of course you didn't know I was coming. I invited me. Of course you didn't know. That was really funny. But then you cut back to then Mia Yim, and I think there was something else in between that too. It's like, brother. So this match in total was what, 3 minutes? 5 minutes? It's incredibly frustrating because it's like the women's US title. If you didn't want to do it, make it a workhorse. Why'd you take it off of Chelsea Green? Why'd you take it off of Zelina? And both people who I know wanted to defend it. Why aren't you letting Julia defend it? It could be more than a prop. There's a whole Raquel Rodriguez there. There's a whole, Liv Morgan's injured right now, but there's so many women on the undercard that you could use and say this is a buildup. Like, I'm sure Trade isn't there. Not Trade, I'm sorry. I'm sure when Jade isn't there, we could use Jade, or if Jade isn't in the title scene, or there are people we could use. What is Candice LeRae doing?
Fighting for the speed title on NXT, which is sad.
Girl, I'll leave that to Sol Ruka. First of all, I would never want to wrestle Sol Ruka because I don't know what she be doing. She be flipping, defying gravity, her and hologram over there. So you let Sol Ruka have that. What are we doing?
I will say, I feel like the move would have been one women's mid-card title, either a Continental or a US title. Because I feel this way about AEW too. Sean has said, and I agree, like if they do tag titles, they should be world tag titles where they get defended. Dynamite, Collision, ROH, New Japan Strong when they have shows, CMLL, make them traveling titles. I wish they did that with the tag titles in WWE. I wish they did that with one women's mid-card titles that floated brands. And if you put it on the right people, it becomes the coolest title in the company.
Agreed.
Like I really, really think that would have been the way to go. But instead, it feels like they just stretched it too thin. Like, this has not been great. So,
Kate, Cresta, I will say, though, do you think that if it was floating, it wouldn't just end up on someone like a Bailey or a Rhea Ripley that they just need to fill a spot somewhere?
They might. I think if you do that, though, and you're actually if you have Rhea Ripley fighting Ivy Nile and Zelina Vega in the same week, is that the worst thing? I don't think so. Like, I feel like you can put it on someone who, if it's especially on someone like Bailey, man, like let her work against young talent. When Becky had her title before she went away, it was like she was in NXT and she was putting over, or she was working with Tegan Nox and a bunch of people on the main roster, right? That just weren't getting shine. So I think it could freshen things up if they had done it that way, but it's too late now. It's too late now.
And it's too late, baby. Now it's too late. Kate says she's not going to take it. That's all I got.
I love it. And it's too late to be talking about wrestling because we're 2 hours into it. But the only thing that we have left to talk about is this idea that we can heal Charlotte with the power of friendship. And Cresta, before you leave for your hiatus for a few weeks here, can I heal you with the power of friendship so that you go away as healthy as possible?
When you touch me, I die just a little inside.
Perfect. No notes. I love it.
I love you, Kate.
I love you, Cresta. And though you are going away for a little bit, where can people find you on your own stuff? Where can people find you in the meantime? Let the people know where they can expect to see you.
All right, guys, this is day 2 of the Cresta Star mental health speech. I hope you guys are ready. I'll be out till the end of October, roughly. I'm going away because I got a lot of mental health problems. I think it's okay to take a break. I think it's also important that if you are struggling or you know someone who's struggling, to please reach out to them. Life is very short and life comes at you fast, and it may sound like a joke, but it does. And before you know it, people you care about and people you love may not be here. So take care of yourself, your mental health. Take a break when you need. You are allowed to leave. No one's going to hold you there. I really appreciate all of you guys and care for you so much. Thank you, Kate, for letting me be here the past couple of Fridays.
Oh my gosh, it's been a blast. Thank you.
Like it's been so much fun. I really do enjoy wrestling, and I think that wrestling is something that can bring people together rather than divide them. Who cares if you watch AEW, WWE? We all want to watch people pretending to beat up other people in their underwear. It's the best, worst hobby, and we can all be sports entertained. Now that I got that out the way, you can find me on all forms of social media. Cresta Star, CRESTASTARR. Mainly, I'll be on my Twitch. Everything will be very inconsistent. I just have to go and be a chupacabra in the woods for a couple of weeks. So you can find me on X, where it's Cresta the Star, like Megan Thee Stallion. Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm gonna try to be out there. I have a YouTube that I'm going to be refreshing soon. Fun fact: we were going to do a Cresta gets suspended from Fightful angle, because if you were here last week, it would have been funny. I could have leaked some audio of me calling Sean a doo-doo head, a poopy head, something very clearly fake, very
trying to get us demonetized here. Damn.
I'm sorry. I went to after I told Kate and Sean this, I went to bed, and then the next day people got extremely weird with Sean. So we're not doing that. I'm just going away for 6 weeks. And I want you guys to be great. Kate, I want you to be great. Thank you guys. You're fantastic. Kate, where can the people find you?
You can find me crying over Cresta's absence, but in the spirit of mental health, NAMI.org, if you need anything, they have some incredible mental health resources there. That's a fantastic organization. Sean's raised a lot of money for them. The returning AJ Lee actually has done a lot of work with NAMI as well. So appropriate there, but mental health matters. Take care of yourselves and each other. You can find me at Miss Kate Fabe on social media and my own YouTube channel, sporadically releasing content with great inconsistency, but love for the game. You can catch me here at Fightful every Tuesday and Friday on this channel, Mondays on Fightful Select, and Wednesdays at the Mark Order Podcast, talking all things, all elite, and pay-per-views and PLEs on Fightful Select. But most importantly, reviewing Freddy Got Fingered next Thursday. So that's where I'll be, watching Freddy Got Fingered this weekend and getting paid to review it in puppets. So
that's free money.
That's free money, baby. I don't know how else to say enjoy your weekend outside of that, but have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We will see you next week.